gatherings will be permitted, subject to limitations on size, adherence to social distancing and other health protocols. And these gatherings will include these following types of gatherings: religious, social, political, and cultural gatherings.
Now, this statement is what has triggered some form of imbalance within the ecumenical groups in the country.
Online church is not church. I can't even cater for the quota of this congregation because of affordability and obviously because of the gadgets that are used to actually do a proper life service. One of the kingdom patterns we have as a church is offering and tithe. And that for us is not a burden. That's how we operate. So obviously we are very challenged in terms of finances of the church because we need money, actually to run the ministry. We get no funding from government. We get no subsidy from government. I don't get any stipend from government.
We've got big churches in this country. How are you going to work with 50 people if you've got 2,000? And yet you've got a building. Remember, these buildings are not for free. They are paid by churches. Churches pay this building, some will pay 100,000, and then how do you pay for a building that you are not using? A church is spending and paying rates, paying water, and so on for buildings that you are not using because it's unworkable to work with 50 people. We are saying government has to consider, give 50% of the per building capacity. That's the most reasonable thing to do. Your freedom of religion cannot be taken under this law. We say it's an error in law. And we are calling upon the defenders of the Constitution to speak up and say, this cannot be.
Taxis are full, buses are full, trains are full. Churches are empty. If we will not stand up as a church, men of faith take the government to court over the violation of their rights of freedom of religion. People are allowed to go to the gyms.
Chief activist of One South Africa movement, Mmusi Maimane, has appealed to President Cyril Ramaphosa to loosen regulations that limit the number of attendees to places of worship. He says, as the nation mourns and suffers, it is not the political system that will comfort and nurse souls of so many, but rather it is the church. In an open letter to President Ramaphosa, Maimane said the president's decision to restrict church attendance is unworkable in the given circumstances. Quote, while I understand we cannot open to full capacity for all churches, allowing an increased 50% of venue capacity is manageable. If hundreds of passengers can sit jam-packed in a 2-hour flight and still adhere to health protocols, surely a place of worship can do too, unquote. He said the church has played and continues to play a significant role in the nation and has therefore appealed that places of worship be opened up to allow people practice their faith in a way that is most meaningful and practical. He noted that during the dark days of apartheid, it was the Catholic Church that built schools in the townships. Quote, the church has on many occasions risen to the occasion when the state has failed. In healthcare, churches built hospitals. During the hard lockdown last year, churches reached out and fed the poor, amongst many contributions. Mr. Maimane consequently called for the opening of churches for people to practice their faith.